what we as young adults got to do is that instead of getting fascinated with what we see externally, right? Instead of getting so consumed with people winning, what we can see people winning, let's start to think about like how are people winning from within. So let's think about Deion Sanders, right? We look at him get the dub last Saturday against TCU, right? But the game was played on Saturday, but that game was won within the week. That game that he won that from within the offseason because he took over a team that was 1-11, right? And so before they even played it down on the field, he knew that, man, I got to change from within. I got to change Colorado from within, the culture, the expectations, the way they talk about themselves, the way they believe about themselves. Primetime went in there and said, I got to change from within because he understood before we could win externally, before we can win on the field, we got to first win within. We got to get the right players, got to get the right scheme. We got to get people believing. What up, winners, man? You are now watching and listening to another episode of the Tackle Thursday with JK Podcast. I am your host, JK, and you already know I'm all about helping young adults win, and I do so on each episode of this podcast by tackling different topics that young adults may experience and young adults may, go through or feel or different things of that nature, man. And so today's topic that I'm tackling, that I encourage those that's watching or listening live or that will watch and listen to this on the podcast platforms, which is Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watch it on YouTube. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jeremy Kellem, man. The title for today's show is Win From Within, right? Win from within. And man, let's be honest, man, everybody out here, we trying to get dubs. We trying to get win. We trying to win, right? And even my company, man, my company name is WeImpactNow. And so I'm all about winning it. And really got DJ Khaled, right? Every time we used to win with the Rattlers, they used to play, all we do is win, right? And you still hear that all going through all college football, NFL, things of that nature. And I realized about young adults, what I realized so much about us, man, is that we all about winning too. We trying to get dubs, right? In multiple areas of our life. And a lot of times what I realized too is that as young adults, because we live in the social media realm, right? Because we, so you got the Gen Zers out there, all they know is social media. Then you got, Gen X and things of that nature. You got us, my generation, well, we know what it is to be without social media, and we know what it is to live with social media. And so when we think about just young adults, man, we could go on our phone right now and I can see somebody all the way across the world in Africa, right? I can see them winning. I can see them thriving. I can see them excelling. And what I realize is that a lot of times when we go on social media, and it's a lot of times what the younger adults, the ones that's in college and things and in high school, what presents a challenge to you and to young adults and to us in general is that when we see somebody that's winning, that's our age, and we might not be winning in those areas, right? You might be single and you see somebody that's married and they made it to that top echelon as far as in relationship status, and they're married and you see them thriving, right? And they winning in that way. Or man, you a coach and you looking at Deion Sanders, that boy out there thriving, winning, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing. Shout out to him in Colorado, right? But you can look and say, man, Coach Sanders, man, he winning, man. He thriving as a coach. I'm trying to, right? If you're a coach, you're like, man, I'm trying to get like that. I'm trying to win on my own level, right? Or you're a businessman. You watching Tyler Perry do his thing, become a billionaire, right? And take over BET and Marvel and all them people coming to him and his studios and things. And you can say like, man, as a creator, man, I'm trying to win like Tyler. Or on your spiritual walk, man, and as you walking with God, or you look at people, you look at TD Jakes, you look at PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr. doing his thing in music and as a preacher, right? You can say, man, they winning, they thriving, and those are examples of winning. And I'm sure if you look in your life, you will see that you're winning in areas of your life, multiple areas of your life, right? But what I realize is that everybody I just named or things that we see on social media, a lot of that winning is the reflection of winning, right? Like if you got a big house, that house is, you're winning, but that's a reflection of winning, right? That seeing Colorado win on Saturday, it's a reflection of winning from within, right? If you see somebody thriving spiritually, you look at Pastor Mike Jr., he thriving in music, he thriving as a pastor, but that's a reflection of the winning that's going on within. And so what I mean, by that is that what we as young adults got to do is that instead of getting fascinated with what we see externally, right? Instead of getting so consumed with people winning, what we can see people winning, let's start to think about like how are people winning from within. So let's think about Deion Sanders, right? We look at him get the dub last Saturday against TCU, right? But he didn't. The game was played on Saturday, but that game was won within the week. That game that he won that from within the offseason. Because he took over a team that was 1-11, right? And so before they even played it down on the field, he knew that, man, I gotta change from within. I gotta change Colorado from within, the culture, the expectations, the way they talk about themselves, the way they believe about themselves. Primetime went in there and said, I got to change from within, because he understood before we can win externally, before we can win on the field, we got to first win within. We got to get the right players, got to get the right scheme. We got to get people believing, right? You look at, EYL, they doing their thing. They bring a lot of great stories talking about financial literacy. And so you see people like EYL, you see people that's doing good, got big houses, you ride nice cars, or they, they're doing amazing things financially. And those are just reflections of how they're winning from within. So we look at the houses, we look at the money they might have, but we got to start thinking about, okay, what type of budget did they put themselves on? What type of investment did they make? What type of things that they cut back on buying, right? Because so to win financially in that manner, you got to start winning first from within. You got to set the right budget. You got to have good spending habits. You got to know how to invest. You got to be got to have financial knowledge, which knowing what's out there. You got to have financial literacy, which knowing how to use those type of things, man. And then just having the financial ability or competency in the sense to be able to go and know how to use those different financial tools for your situation. So before we get to that place where we see those people winning financially, we got to think about what did they do within? What foundation financially did they set for themselves to get them to that place, right? Or man, you look at PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr. doing this thing, and you're like, man, I want to travel and be a preacher like that. I want to travel and speak, or I want to travel and do music like that. And we see him winning, right? The exterior winning, but we got to ask ourselves, man, what has he done internally? What has he set up, right? To win from within, so we see the reflection of winning from on the outside, right? And so as young adults, that's a hard thing, right? Especially like working with young adults, and they see it on social media. They see it like, man, they got that. I want that. I want that. Okay, that's cool to have that, but that's the external things. Let's figure out, what are they doing internally? What type of foundation are they setting up for themselves to win, right? And so what I encourage us, right, to not do as young adults, as people, is, well, what I encourage us to do, one, is to focus on the internal, right? You might want to be married. You're dating right now and you want to get married. And so many times in relationships, we rush to the physical aspect, the exterior, right? What we can see, and we try to rush the relationship. But marriages that last for 50, 60, 70 years are marriages that work from within. So if somebody tell you, hey, yeah, man, we've been married 50 years, happily married. Yeah, that sounds good, but they put that work from within. And what I mean from within, they laid the foundation. They built their relationship on friendship. They built their relationship on a solid foundation. They got to know who each other were, not just what they can do for each other, not just how they can make each other feel, but they established that foundation, right? And say, and like you said, Melvin, right, what did it take to put the work in behind closed doors? So we see the marriage on the outside. Oh, yeah, man. But what type of conversations, what type of work is going on from within that's allowing that relationship to blossom externally? And that's in every facet of our life. So we got to turn our focus. So instead of focusing on results, instead of focusing on ultimately what I want it to look like, let's focus on setting up the foundation. Let's focus on setting up, right? If I'm a football player, I'm an athlete, right? Football season, instead of just focusing on that I want a dub on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, let's focus on what it's going to take. Okay, I got to watch film. That's how you win from within. I got to hit the weight room. That's how you win from within the week. So whoever wins tonight's game, right? Yeah, the game is played tonight between the Chiefs and the Lions, but the game was won during the week. The preparation, you know what I'm saying? The process is won from within, right? It's played on the day, but it's won from within, right? And so we focus on first point, focus on internal. You gotta look within, right? Look within every situation, every relationship, look within your finances, look within your life. How do I become a better person? Look within. Let's focus on our character, focus on our relationship with God. How am I getting better? Look at myself. What can I improve on? Right? Let's focus on winning from within. And so with us focusing on the internal, we gotta avoid looking at the external. Right. And that external is social media. That external are watching people win externally. Right. Or looking at that at prime time and saying, boy, I want to win just like that. And that's cool. But the question should be, what did prime time do to turn that team around from 1-11 to beating the defending runner-up national champions? That's the question. What did prime time do within? So we see the external win on the outside, but what did he do within? If you look at EYL, right, or you look at somebody doing a thing with investments, okay, I see the investments, I see the money, I see the car, I see the house, but what did they do from within to get there? Oh man, I see they married. They've been married for a long time. Okay, what are they doing to stay happily married, right? What type of compensations? What's their routine? What's the things that they're doing, right? And like Melvin say, man, trust your preparation and process. Keep your focus and not on others, right? And so when we say like, I mean, external leads to destruction, to be honest, right? When you look at the Bible, in the Bible it talks about Jesus talked about a foolish man and a wise man. He said that the wise man built. He said a wise man built their house, right? And let me make sure I got the right scripture, right? 1 Samuel chapter 16. No, not that one. Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7, verses 24-27, right? Jesus, he's talking about, right, a foolish man and a wise man. So Jesus is talking about the parable between like the houses, right? The wise man built this house on the rock. The foolish man built his house on the sand. Now a storm came against both of them, but one was still standing. So the house that won and was still standing is the house that was strong from within, right? So the wise man said, I'm going to win from within. I'm going to build my house on a solid foundation. That's how I'm going to win. But a foolish man said, I'm just going to make my house look good on the outside. But when a storm come, my house collapsed because that foolish man wasn't focused on building his house on a strong foundation. And so I'm not here saying that one man is foolish, one man is wise. But what I'm saying is that whatever we're building in our lives, our walk with God, our relationships, dating relationships, our friendships, our businesses, whatever we're building, the only way it's going to have a sustainability and win long term is that you win from within. Think about it. Both houses were built. So the one that was built on sand, the one that was built on rock, both of them was built. But over the amount of time, after going through a storm, only one was standing. And so we got to understand that, man, if I want my relationship to stand, if I want my marriage to keep standing, then I got to keep working on within. That I can't neglect the within, the work that I got to put in within. If I want my business to keep thriving or excelling, to go to new heights, then that means that I cannot neglect shoring up my business from within, right? Yeah, the glitz and glamours, the logo, the website, all that look good. But what am I doing in this infrastructure? Can my business right now handle 10x or going to another level? So that is how companies, that is how businesses continue to go and win, because they win from within. Spiritually, in your walk with God, how do you win? You spend time with God. You read his word. You stand his word. He continues to strengthen you from within, build your character, right? Work on you, and then you're able to win in other areas, exterior areas of your life, right? And so, lastly, man, so the first thing, right, we focus on internal, right? We focus on internal, but then secondly, we don't focus on the external, because external can lead to destruction. Like we said, the house built on a rock, the house built on the sand, the one built on the sand was destroyed because it was not built strong internally in its foundation. All right. And then we talk about, right, we got to look at the heart of things, right? We got to look at the heart of things, right? And so when we talk about looking at the heart of things, go back to the Bible, right? Where when God wanted to anoint a king, right? And he got Samuel. He told Samuel, "Hey, Samuel, go anoint this. I already know who I got. Just go. Hey, I already know who it is." He's talking about David. Now, when Samuel got there, Samuel was focused on, because he had in mind. He said, "Okay, if I gotta choose a king, all right, this king he gonna look a certain way. He gonna look a certain way externally." Which a lot of us we do. We focus on the external. We focus on what look good, but we ignore, or we don't ask the question, is it good internally? Right? And so God told him, hey man, look at the outside appearance. Me, God, I look at the heart. So God wasn't trying to find somebody that just looked the part. He wanted somebody to have and be the part in their heart. Right. In other words, God knew, okay, if I'm going to get a king that's going to lead my people or win from, right, that's going to win and be a winner for my people, they got to be a winner from within, that their heart got to be right in order to lead and be the best king that they could be. Right. And so what we got to understand is that when we look at the heart of things, like think about a car. If I'm going to buy a car, okay, the car could look good on the outside, but how many miles on it? What that engine look like? Because at the end of the day, a car is only as good as what the motor, the engine, the parts within it. Because a car ain't a winner unless it's winning from within. A race car in the world, you go get any type of race car, the frame of the car don't make the car win. It's what is going on within the car that helps the car win. Right. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that when we're watching people win, and that's great, man, use people as encouragement, man. I be motivated watching Prime Time. I'm inspired watching EYL, right? And Jeremy Anderson, and Eric Thomas, and all the great, amazing speakers, Inky Johnson, man, Brad Butler, YB Norman, all that. I'm inspired, right? But I know at the same time that what I'm looking at is inspiring, but I know that they're doing some things within them, within their business, within their families, within their life, that's helping them win externally where everybody can see, right? And this what I also just want to let y'all know, right? Because I'm not telling you that don't go get nice things, or don't be into nice things, or hey, go date anybody. No, it don't matter how they look. No, I ain't saying that, right? That ain't what I'm saying. I tell people all the time, like, my wife's looks is what attracted me, right? But who my wife is, her character is why I married her, right? So I understood that if I want to win in marriage, if I want to win a relationship, that who she is as a person, she got to, you know what I'm saying? It got to be right. And that's going to help us win in our marriage, right? Now, like I say, hey, it ain't nothing wrong with appearance. Because even when we look at the Bible, right, we look at when God say man looks at the outside, but he looks at the heart. God looks at the heart. But then when you drop down a few more scriptures, you see that they describe how David looked. David wasn't no bad looking guy. He was a good looking guy. He was healthy. It said that he was in good health. So in other words, it's not that God is against appearance, or you should be against appearance, or hey, you shouldn't like cars that you like a house that you like, or you shouldn't like a business that you like. No. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But before you make a decision on that person, before you make a decision on that business, before you make a decision on that car or on that house, make sure that it's good from within. Because at the end of the day, that's how you win. You win from within. We can look at football, but you can have all the skill positions in the world, but you winning in the trenches, within your offense. That's the core. Within your defense, that D-line, the core, right? That's the bottom line. That's with anything. Anything you trying to win at, anything you trying to build at, you win from within, man. And so, man, that's what I got today for Tackle Thursday with JK podcast, man. For all my young adults out there, I know that y'all fighting to win. I know y'all pushing to win spiritually, financially, emotionally, socially, occupationally, in every realm and area of your life. You are fighting to win, and I'm here to tell you that you could do it. You can win, right? Keep God first. God got you. And understand, right? Don't neglect your internal. Don't neglect the things that you can't see, because that's how you win. You win from within. Everything on the exterior, that's great. That's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. But make sure you're winning from within first, right? And man, hey, y'all continue to wake up, strive, and win on purpose. Be intentional about winning. Y'all have a blessed day.